Hi everybody, my name is Jens Larsen. The flat 3 diminished chord is causing panic in a lot of jazz solos. I have some other videos where I'm talking about like what scales go with the chord and what arpeggios you can find in that scale and how you work with it. And I thought it would be a good idea to also just have some examples of where this chord actually occurs and how you deal with it, because I think that's a better way to actually work on it. Whenever I'm trying to learn something new, I'll go find songs that have that chord progression or that specific chord and then try and use that to really get that into my system. This video will show you 3 examples of the flat 3 diminished chord, and for each of them I'm going to go over what scale goes with the chord and also an example of how you might improvise a line on the progression in that chord. A huge part of how I learned to play jazz was studying songs. It's really important that you not only learn to understand and figure out what to play, but that you also have some real music where you can apply whatever you've learned and really get it into your system and start building your abilities as an improviser using real music. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, improve the way that you solo, or check out some interesting arpeggios or chord voicings, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to make sure not to miss anything, then click the little bell notification icon next to the subscribe. This first example is from the jazz standard The Song Is You by Jerome Kern. And here we have sort of the classic version of the flat 3 diminished and how it's used in a progression. So the song is in the key of C major, so the first chord is a C major. Then we get 1 bar of E flat diminished, and then to D minor, and then to G7. So we really just kind of have this turnaround where instead of the 6th chord, we have this diminished chord. In this case we're in the key of C major, and the flat 3 diminished is E flat diminished, and the scale you would use over that would be the harmonic minor scale from the 3rd of the key. So the 3rd of E, the 3rd of C major is E, and that means that we're using E harmonic minor on the E flat diminished. The line that I'm playing is starting on the 4 end with the root, so just with the C, pulling off to the B, and then down an E minor triad, and then back up to the 5th, so to the G, and then on the E flat diminished, so I start on the F sharp or G flat, and then I'm really just using the arpeggios. In this case I'm just using a C diminished triad. And then to get to the D minor, the easiest way to use sort of the E harmonic minor scale is actually to sort of target the notes that sound good, resolving to an E minor, and in this case it has to kind of fit with the D minor as well, but the 9th, so the E is a really good candidate for this. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm coming out on the 9th of the D minor 7, and then a similar idea as what I had. So using a motif to resolve as well. So I'm using an A minor triad on the D minor 7 chord, and then vary the line, and then going into a G7 altered line, resolving to the 3rd of C major 7. So we have first the C major 7 part. Down the E minor triad, down to the D, back up to the G, and then the E flat diminished, which is using the C diminished sound, then resolving that to the 9th of the D minor, and then a small sort of A pentatonic fragment, and then a G7 altered. This example is from the Jazz Waltz Someday My Prince Will Come, which is probably most famous from Miles Davis and from Bill Evans. The flat 3 diminished chord comes along in the second 8 bars, and it's sort of again pretty standard 3 flat 3 diminished 2 5 progression, and that comes along twice in the second 8 bars. The song is in this case in the key of B flat, and of course the flat 3 diminished is then D flat diminished, and the scale that you would use on that would be D harmonic minor. The way this example is built is using a motif. So on the D minor 7 chord I first have a statement that's 3 notes long, so, and then I'm developing that on the flat 3 diminished by moving down the 2 lowest notes a half step, and then I'm adding a flat 6, so the A, and then resolving to the C minor, And then here I just have sort of small scale melody going to F7 altered, and then resolving to the 9th of B flat major 7. If you're going from the 1 chord, or in this case it's actually a 3 chord, but it's similar to the 1 chord, it's a tonic chord, and then to the flat 3 diminished, then it can be really useful to think of a 1 major 6 arpeggio for the tonic chord. So that's kind of what I'm doing here also with the D minor. And then this is easy to voice lead into a diminished chord, like this, because I'm just lowering these 2 notes. And you can use that to just generate some lines that are going to make sense whenever you're moving from either 3 to flat 3 or from 1 to flat 3, like we had in the song issue. First the original motif, then developing, and then going to C minor, and then a leading note up to the flat 9 on the dominant, and then resolving to the B flat major 7. The reason that I can publish jazz guitar videos every week is that I have a small community of people over on Patreon that are supporting my channel. And if you want to help me keep making videos and join us over on Patreon, I can also give you something in return for your support. So check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description of this video. This example is from one of my favorite standards, It Could Happen to You. The chord progression is E flat major and then to E diminished. In this case this is an auxiliary or secondary dominant diminished going up to F minor. And then we get the flat 3 diminished, which is a G flat diminished in this case. And that's resolving to, not to a 2 chord this time, but to an inversion of the tonic chord, so E flat with G in the bass. You could kind of argue that this is also a sort of secondary dominant diminished, but the scale choice is going to be the same, and I thought it would be nice to just have a little bit of variation in the types of progressions that I go over in this video. The key of this progression is E flat major, and of course the flat 3 diminished is then G flat diminished, and the scale that we use is from the 3rd of the key, so from G, and that's a G harmonic minor scale. The line on the E flat major 7 starts with a Coltrane pattern played descending, so it's an E flat major Coltrane pattern, so B flat, G, F and E flat. Then we get a B flat major triad, so just the triad from the 5th of the chord. Then on the E diminished, so E diminished is a secondary dominant diminished, so that means that it's really just a C7 leading us to F minor, and the scale you would use on it would then also be F harmonic minor. And here I'm just playing the arpeggio from the D flat, so, and then down to the G again, and then resolving on the F minor to the A flat. Now the F minor line is first just a short sort of turn on from the 3rd down to the root, and then down to the F again, and then down the scale. And I'm kind of using that motif on the G flat diminished, so I'm starting on E flat, same turn, and then here you also see where the G flat diminished is, I mean it's G harmonic minor, and one of the arpeggios that we can then use on this chord is a D7, and that's what I'm doing here. So first the D, then skipping down to the F sharp, and then up the scale, so up to A and C, and then resolving to the B flat on the E flat first inversion chord. So E flat major Coltrane pattern, B flat major triad, then the diminished arpeggio, and then going to the F minor, and then the G flat diminished, and then with the D7 arpeggio, and then resolving to the B flat. If you want to dig a little bit deeper into diminished chords and check out some extensions and some scale choices and the different types of diminished chords, then check out this playlist where I have a few videos on that topic. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar and this is the first time that you see one of my videos, then subscribe to my channel. These are the kind of videos that I publish here every week. And of course, if you want to help me keep making videos and support the channel, then check out my Patreon page. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and until next week.